Very good morning, guys. This is Lakshya Arora, and I will be showing you today how you can deploy logic apps through CI/CD pipelines. As I told in my previous video, I will not be showing basic method how you can create logic apps through portal or through some script. I will show you how you can implement it using CI/CD pipelines. So it will be easy for you to deploy in different environments like dev, QA, and production environments. So simply what you need to do is you need to change the code in your source control, and accordingly you can deploy it to different environments. Let me first show you what will be the prerequisite. Prerequisite will be you need to have Visual Studio. I am using Visual Studio 2017 to build my solution. And second, you need Azure Subscription. Azure Subscription, why? Because you will be deploying a logic apps to Azure only, to a particular resource group in Azure. And the third thing and the last thing, you need Azure DevOps account. Why? Because you will be creating pipelines in Azure DevOps account only. So let me first open my Visual Studio. This is my Visual Studio. So here I will click on File, New Project. So basically what I am doing, I am basically selecting a template. So that template will consist of the basic code required to create your logic app. Let me change the name, logic app Lakshya. Select Azure resource group and click OK. Let me give it a different name, logic app Lucky. Select Azure resource group. You will select Azure resource group because Azure resource group is the correct template if you need to deploy any logic app. I will show you one, like this window got opened. So if you want to deploy a web app plus SQL app, logic app, Docker, and various other things like storage account plus content delivery network, so in these cases you will be using Azure resource group. Click on logic app because I need to deploy logic app. Click OK. It will create a project, a basic project for you. And one more thing, guys, a personal suggestion: if you are using Visual Studio, then your computer should have at least 8 GB of RAM. I'm not sure if it will work with 4 GB or not, but better if it is 8 GB because Visual Studio hangs sometimes. This is the basic template which you got. This is the basic PowerShell script which you will get. So this is the basic PowerShell deployment script which you will get automatically when you create this template. I won't go into this PowerShell script because it is not the current video part. It is a long PowerShell script. If you want, you can understand it. It basically uses normal PowerShell commands. New Azure RM resource group deployment. It is basically a PowerShell task. Get Azure RM resource group. So I won't be going into that. This is the logic app.json file. This is the automatic ARM template which you will get when you select a logic app in your templates. This is the schema of the ARM template. This is the content version. So this is the basic ARM template. You can go through it and I will also explain you in. This is the parameters file, logic app.parameters file. So what Parameter is basically, suppose if you are deploying, let me give you an example. If you are deploying a PowerShell script to different environments, so let's say if you want to deploy a resource using PowerShell script to dev environment, and then to QA environment, and then to prod environments, so in that case you can take environment as the parameter value. So parameter will be supplied from your end, and if you change it to dev, you will be deploying it to dev. If you change it to prod, you will be deploying it to prod. So parameter is basically the input from your end. So this file is that file only. It consists of all the parameters which you will be supplying from your end. This is the logic app.json file. So I've already prepared the parameters file. I will show you. So this is the parameter file which I already prepared. So in this parameter file, I have used logic app name, Azure queues, one connection name, connection, all these things as a parameter, storage account. So why I am using this? Basically what this template will be doing, it will be pushing a message to Azure storage queue. Actually logic app will run at a particular time, in particular scheduled time, and when it is triggered, it will basically push a message to Azure storage queue. So see, this is the logic app and logic app.json file. So I will be changing the values. Logic app name, this is the first parameter. Description is name of the logic app, as it is already converted. So logic app name, I am taking activate job dev. It will take this value when I build this solution and deploy it. Logic app location parameter I am not using, and variables. Now comes the variables part. Resources name, parameter logic app name, it will take logic app name from the parameters file. Type, location, all this, API version, properties. This is the file. Where is the file? Logic app dot parameters file. So this is the final parameter file for our solution, and this is the JSON file logic app. So let us open this logic app with logic app designer. And guys, one more thing, you won't be getting this default option of opening with logic app designer. You need to select the install the extension for that in Visual Studio only. So this is the logic app designer. So like we can select first recurrence. Recurrence means it will basically define a time schedule for this logic app to run. Go to new step. One second, let me. Settings, new step. Choose Azure queue, because as I told, this logic app will be triggering and then putting a message in the Azure queue. So you need to select this action, Azure queue, put a message on a queue, because we need to put a message on an Azure queue. So before that, we need a storage account. So let us first go to Azure portal and then create a storage account. It will use. So we are back into the portal. Actually, there was some problem with my keyboard. Only some keys are not working. So that's why it created a problem. Go to storage accounts. You need to create a storage account, because there only you will be pushing your messages in storage queue through Logic app. Resource group, storage account name, my store, logic, any. So this is the basic steps which I follow to create the storage account. These are the basic part: your subscription, resource group, storage account name, and all these parameters. Go to networking. No need to make any change. Simply go to review and create. Click on create. It will be creating a storage account for you. Let me pause the video until the resource deployment is complete. This is the storage account which I have created. Now let's open Visual Studio and close this. We will again go to new step. Type Azure queue. Put a message. See, it has automatically taken storage account name. My like connection. Select this and create this logic app. Queue name. Enter custom value. Like queue. This is the message. Activate dev environment. This is the message which it will be pushing to the Azure storage queue. You can also make use of this dynamic content that I will explain you later. As of now, this is enough. So yeah, this is your complete logic app. So let me brief till now what we have done. We have basically taken a ARM template. We have basically taken a template from Visual Studio. In that we selected the template resource group, and then we selected the logic app template. After we got the project created, we got these three files: PowerShell file, which is basically a deployment script, logic app.json, and logic app parameter. This is the parameter file where all the parameters are stored. Let me show you again. This is the parameters file. This is the logic app.json file. Okay, and this is basically logic app designer. This designer you will get in Azure portal also, that I have shown you how you can make. Recurrence is a schedule, and it will be pushing a message on the queue. Now open this logic app docu. Save this file, logic app designer, and this is a logic app.json file, ARM template basically. So it has taken the values. See, don't go much into ARM template, because I will be creating a separate video on how to create ARM templates. As of now, this is enough, and we try to build this solution locally. So why I'm building this? Building means basically testing this solution again locally only, because when you are working in a real-time environment only, then you will be first testing and building the solution in your local system only. After that, you will be creating a new branch and pushing all the code to that branch, and that branch will get merged to master after certain approvals from your leads managers. and after that it will be deployed to production environment. So that is another thing. So now it is built. Now what we can do, we can push it to GitHub. So let us push it to GitHub. This is a commit message we provide while pushing to GitHub. Commit created locally. Clicking on sync. It will push all my code to my repo, GitHub repo. Successfully pushed to origin master. It is pushed to my GitHub repo on master branch. Let me open my GitHub account. So yeah guys, this repo I have published to my Azure DevOps account. I haven't published it to GitHub because I am facing some issues while accessing GitHub tokens to authenticate with my pipeline. So this is the repo I have pushed to my Azure DevOps directly. Now I will be creating a pipeline. I will be creating a release pipeline because we have the artifact already. Artifact means artifact is basically a build solution which we get. So solution we have created in Visual Studio only by building it locally, that we will use as an artifact. Here I will use empty job, call it dev. Artifact will be your Azure repo. Demo repo is my current project. Source demo repository name, and default branch you will be selecting master. I am selecting master because all my code is present in master branch only, and in case any new commit occurs in master branch, this code pipeline will run. Default version will be latest from the default branch. It will take the latest code, or you can also select this specific commit from default branch. It means you need to specify a particular commit name which will be responsible for triggering this. So as of now I'm selecting it latest and click on add. This is the demo repo, means your artifact, and this is the pipeline. So release pipeline, it basically these are the tasks. Pipeline consists of basically a job runs on an agent. Job consists of stages consist of tasks. So this is all about DevOps concept. uh, and this is the dev stage. This is the agent which I told just now. Agent specification, you can select any agent. So agent basically you can think of as an software executable which is basically used to run your job. Click on add. So here I will be selecting resource group deployment. Earlier name was resource group deployment, now it is changed to ARM template deployment. This is the display name. Resource group, resource manager connection. It will click on authorize. because it will authorize to your Azure subscription. See, it has authenticated. It will authenticate. So I paused the video when I was entering my credentials. From security point of view, you all must be knowing. And select the subscription. This action, create or update. So this action will, you have two options, delete and create or update. So create or update means if resource group is already present, it will add the resources in that group. If resource group is not present, then it will create first and then add the resources. Like my resource group already created because I created a storage account. Location of the resource group. Now comes the major part, template. So you need to select the location of your template because mainly we are deploying template only. logicapp.json. This is my template which I told you earlier, and template parameters. Here we will select the parameters file. Logicapp parameters.json. logicapp.json and logicapp parameters.json. And now comes the override template parameters. If you want to override any particular template parameters, then you can specify those parameters. Let's suppose you want to override a parameter for logic app name or logic app location. That parameter you can specify. Deployment name you can give. As of now I am saving it because the video is getting lengthy. Click on save, give comment, click on OK. Then you need to create a release. In release pipeline you will always create a release. You can see the release pipeline running. It is deploying logic app. It was fetched the code from Azure repos and then it is creating deployment parameters, encoding, template validation. As you can see, it has successfully deployed the template. These are the steps in your release pipeline. Initialize job. These are all the logs. Download artifacts. It will download the artifacts. ARM template deployment. It validates the resource group template and then deploy it. If there is any error in your template, it will show as deployment ARM template validation failed, and it will fail your job also. Finalize job, clean up task key. It cleans up all the workspace, local workspace. So yeah, and we can go into Azure portal also. Select your resource group. Loic app lucky, funny name. See, your logic app is deployed. Activate job dev. API connection, this is automatic, you don't need to care about that, it will get deployed automatically. Storage account we created, and this is the logic app. So likewise we basically built an automated solution to deploy a logic app to Azure. If you change this parameters file or logic app.json file, here I've written activate job dev. You can see activate job dev logic app is deployed. If you change it to UAT, and save it, it will deploy another logic app with the name UAT. Or if you want, you can also do one thing. You can go to release edit pipeline and you can clone this stage, name it UAT. So likewise you can deploy it your code to UAT also. That you can try on your own, and if you face any issues then you can comment. because the video is getting too lengthy, so I will not be deploying it again. So this is the basic workflow. So what you need to understand is the basic workflow. If you got the idea of basic workflow, then you can do these things. Workflow is like, let me tell you again, fetching the code from GitHub, building it locally, and then pushing that code to your repository, maybe GitHub or Azure repos, and then from that repos you will be using an artifact. Artifact will point to your GitHub repo, and then artifact will act as a source for your release pipeline. Release pipeline consists of jobs, template deployment, template parameters file, template JSON file. So all this stuff you need to give. So that's it for now, guys. I will keep you posted on the next video. Next video will also be regarding deployment only, or maybe ARM template validation, that I will let you know. So thank you. Bye bye all. Take care. Happy learning.